Hello, wonderful people. It is Mark here from Not Defining. This is the place where we talk all about sexuality, gender, sex, love, relationships, delving into those less represented parts, those gray areas, and those in between bits so that we can all understand ourselves better. Now, as a sexuality coach working with hundreds of people from across the gender and orientation spectrum, this is one of the really tough things that comes up. We can often get to thinking, okay, well, am I gay? Am I straight? Am I bi? Or am I in denial? And denial is this state where we kind of convince ourselves that we are one thing, and actually, in reality, we're not. So I just want to give you a few kind of tips and a bit of guidance as to how to kind of approach this and think about it if it is something that you're worried about. So the first thing that you must do, in my opinion, is forgive yourself. Okay? This is a really, really difficult issue. It's a pretty complex psychological state to be in, and nobody wants to be in this state. And so oftentimes what can happen is that we feel we're in a sense of denial, and then we get negative towards ourselves. Yeah, we start to berate ourselves. And this can just make it so much worse. What is really important when you're trying to heal from this is to treat yourself with compassion. The second thing is to know that you are not alone. Okay, oftentimes with these things, we don't really talk about it. And in society, we don't really have that many role models coming out and talking about this. But you must know that you are not alone. There are so many people who struggle with this. In my work, I deal with people all the time, and I myself have gone through it. So I really want you to know that even though you might be feeling isolated or kind of weird or broken, or you look at other people and it's like, oh, no one else deals with this. Lots of people do. If you would like to meet other people, connect with other people who are going through this, you can join our Patreon. The link will be coming up above. We have a Facebook group where people can connect. You can meet up with different people. I can connect you. You can speak with me 24/7, ask any question you want. You can also join group chats and other things. So please come, comment, subscribe, join us here at Not Defining, because you can find community in people who kind of get it. Okay, so forgive yourself. It's all right. You'll be fine. And you are not alone. The third thing to kind of know is that, look, I'll be straight up about it. Denial does exist. Okay, so I'm not saying, oh, you're not in denial, everything's fine. No, you may be in denial. You may be experiencing a state of denial. Why does denial exist? Well, it's a psychological function which is there to protect you from a real threat to your safety. Okay, so the brain is very clever and it's always looking out for your best interest. That's how it works. Denial about sexuality unfortunately happens because homophobia and queerphobia is rife in many of our societies and communities. So actually, if you've grown up in a situation where it's not safe to be gay or LGBT or what have you, then you can actually look at your brain with gratitude and say, do you know what? Thank you so much that you have aligned with this state so that I can actually survive. Okay? Now, it doesn't have to stay there forever. You may be in a situation now where you want to get out of denial and into a more authentic representation of yourself. But if we can treat our brains with compassion and actually acknowledge them and appreciate them for being in this state, because it is a really, really valid concern for many of us. So it's really about validating that threat to our safety and understanding that denial exists to protect us. The next thing that I want to say is it's actually much more likely that you are somewhere in between on the sexuality spectrum, then you are exclusively gay or exclusively heterosexual. A lot of the time when we ask this question, am I gay or in denial, we're dealing with absolutes, okay? And that's what makes it so difficult. We're like, well, either I'm one or I'm the other. And we spend so long trying to work out kind of which one it is ultimately. The reality of it is that it's very, very likely that you're probably somewhere in between. We're all unique, and all the research that has ever been done on sexuality shows very, very clearly that human beings are much more likely to be somewhere on the spectrum rather than being one thing or another. The terms gay and straight are just words that we use to generalize kind of what we are. But underneath those terms, what you find is that everybody has different attractions, everybody has different energies, everyone has different interests and ways of experiencing love, intimacy, sex, fantasy, and all the other things. So try to understand that it's not necessarily going to be one or the other. If you are stuck in this state, it is highly likely that you are somewhere in the middle, and it is that middle place that you have to explore rather than trying to box yourself into I am this or I am that. Okay? And on that topic, I think a useful thing often to explore is once we break down those absolutes of am I this or am I that, you can actually look at maybe the parts that you're in denial about and the parts that you aren't. So to use an example, let's say that you had a man who's in a relationship with a woman and he's terrified that he's really gay and he's in a state of denial because he wants to keep his relationship with his female partner. Okay, just an example. So if he is looking at that in a really absolute binary way, then there's going to be a lot of fear coming up, there's going to be a lot of confusion coming up, and it's going to be really, really hard to answer that question. By breaking it down, what you can actually do is validate the parts of you that are real, and then you can work with them. So for example, if you look at the love that he has for his partner, okay, he knows that that is real, okay? He feels a romantic attraction, a deep sense of affection. He likes spending time with her. He's proud of their relationship. He loves being in a relationship with her, okay? And it might be other things. And then maybe on the other side, he has some sexual attractions. Okay, break that down. Okay, how do those sexual attractions make you feel? Like, what is it that you desire? Is it some excitement? Is it some feeling of safety or fun? Or is it just the release? You know, what actually is it that you are needing and desiring from that interaction? So that's a very quick kind of explanation of how you can break it down. You can even get a piece of paper, put a line down the middle, and break down actually the constituent parts of actually what you feel towards women and men or whatever it is for you. And then you can more easily work with those chunks rather than having this whole absolute of like, am I straight and in denial or am I gay? Those two things are really, really big. They're such a mouthful. They don't really lend themselves to being worked with on a tangible level. So break it down and it should be much easier to then look at where you can kind of get those things kind of met or satisfied or resolved, or you can have conversations or you can seek support or whatever you feel that you need to do. So I hope that this has been helpful. Remember, forgive yourself, give yourself compassion. Okay, you are not alone. Come and join us. There's loads of support available to you. It's most likely that you are something in the middle. There's some need that you have that's not being met. If you break it down, then hopefully you can be able to deal with that or address that in a better way. Now, I have made another video to kind of go along with this, which talks more about kind of how specifically to work out if you are indeed in denial or not. And it goes into a bit more detail. So if you want to check that out, if it is out yet, you can see here. Thank you so much for listening. Please subscribe. I would love to have you as part of our community, and I will speak to you again very, very soon. Have a great day. Bye for now.